one wrong button saves Britain. It's October 15th, 1940. RAF radar technician Joan Clarke stares at her oscilloscope screen in horror. The green blips representing incoming Nazi bombers have vanished, not because they've turned back, but because she's accidentally transmitted on the wrong frequency. Her supervisor will court-martial her for this mistake. The Luftwaffe is invisible again, just like in the dark days before radar. But then something impossible happens. The German pilot's voices crackle through the radio static, confused and panicked. Instruments failing. Can't find target. Navigation is blind. Clarke realizes she hasn't broken Britain's defense. She's just invented something the Nazis never saw coming. A weapon that doesn't kill with bullets or bombs, but with invisible waves that turn the enemy's own technology against them. In the next 47 minutes, her accident will shoot down more German planes than any fighter squadron. But first, she has to convince her superiors that Britain's salvation might come from what they think is her greatest failure. 24 hours earlier, London burns for the 40th straight night. The Blitz has turned Britain's capital into a hellscape of twisted metal and broken glass. Every evening at sunset, Londoners descend into subway tunnels like frightened rabbits, knowing that by dawn, entire neighborhoods might be ash. But Britain has one advantage the Germans don't expect: radar. These mysterious towers dotting the coastline can see enemy bombers coming from 100 miles away, giving RAF fighters precious minutes to scramble and intercept. It's the difference between survival and surrender. Joan Clarke knows this better than anyone. For 8 months, she's been the night shift supervisor at Ventnor radar station on the Isle of Wight. Every green blip on her screen represents death flying toward innocent families. Every successful intercept means children wake up to see another morning. Tonight feels different, though. Intelligence reports suggest the Luftwaffe is planning something massive, possibly the knockout blow that could end Britain's resistance forever. At 9:17 p.m., Clarke's worst nightmare materializes on the scope. 47 bombers flying in perfect formation toward Portsmouth Naval Base. If they succeed, Britain's ability to defend its shipping lanes dies with them. She reaches for the transmission switch to alert Fighter Command, but her hand trembles with exhaustion. 18-hour shifts for 2 months straight have pushed every radar operator to the breaking point. In that split second of fatigue, her fingers slip. Instead of transmitting on the standard 200 megacycle frequency, she accidentally broadcasts on 300 megacycles, directly into the German navigation band. The effect is immediate and terrifying. Every green blip vanishes from her screen, like someone just switched off a light. For 8 seconds, Clarke stares at empty space where 47 death machines should be. Her heart hammers against her ribs. She's just blinded Britain's only early warning system during the most critical raid of the war. But here's where it gets strange. Through her headphones, she hears something that shouldn't be possible. German voices speaking in their own language, but transmitted directly through her equipment. The words are panicked, urgent, afraid. "Heinrich, where are you? My compass is spinning. Radio navigation is dead. All frequencies are static. I can't see the formation. Where is everyone?" Clarke realizes what's happening, and it's revolutionary. Her accidental transmission isn't just interfering with German radar, it's completely scrambling their electronic guidance systems. Every Nazi bomber over the English Channel is now flying blind, their instruments feeding them false information, their radio communications jammed by invisible interference. She's weaponized the electromagnetic spectrum itself. But there's a problem. Her commanding officer, Squadron Leader Morrison, storms into the control room at exactly the wrong moment. He sees the empty radar screen and assumes the worst, that Clarke has suffered a complete equipment failure during Britain's hour of greatest need. "What in God's name have you done?" he shouts, reaching for the manual override. "Sir, wait!" Clarke blocks his path. "I think I've found something." "Found something? You've lost 47 bombers." That's when the first German plane crashes into the sea, its pilot completely disoriented and flying in circles until his fuel runs out. Then another, and another. For the next 23 minutes, Clarke and Morrison listen in stunned silence as one by one, German pilots report the same impossible situation. Their instruments have turned against them. North shows as south, up reads as down. Radio frequencies that should connect them to base command instead fill their headphones with meaningless static. "Mein Gott, I'm flying toward France," one pilot radios, "but my compass says I'm heading north." "Formation leader, where are you?" "I see nothing but ocean." "Fuel is low. Need immediate navigation assistance." Morrison finally understands. Clarke hasn't failed, she's discovered electronic warfare. By accident, she's proven that electromagnetic interference can be more devastating than any anti-aircraft gun. The Germans can't bomb what they can't find, and they can't find anything when their own technology betrays them. "Keep that transmission running," Morrison orders, his voice barely a whisper. "Don't change anything." Over the next 24 minutes, 31 of the 47 German bombers never reach their target. Some crash into the sea, others turn back toward Germany, their pilots too confused to continue. The remaining 16 become so scattered that they drop their bombs harmlessly in empty fields, miles from any strategic target. It's the most successful air defense in British history, achieved without firing a single shot. By morning, word of Clarke's discovery reaches the highest levels of British intelligence. Within weeks, the Royal Air Force begins developing dedicated electronic warfare units, designed specifically to jam German communications and navigation systems. The technology evolves rapidly. What starts as an accidental frequency error becomes sophisticated radio countermeasures that can fool enemy radar, disrupt bomber formations, and even plant false targets on German screens. By 1943, British electronic warfare specialists are creating phantom air fleets that exist only as electromagnetic ghosts, drawing German fighters away from real Allied bomber formations. The Germans try to adapt, switching frequencies and developing counter-jamming techniques. But they're always one step behind because they never understood the fundamental lesson Clarke learned that October night. In modern warfare, controlling information is more powerful than controlling weapons. By war's end, electronic warfare has become as crucial as air superiority itself. The principles Clarke discovered by accident in 1940 eventually evolve into everything from stealth technology to modern cybersecurity. Every GPS system, every satellite communication network, every digital defense grid can trace its lineage back to that moment when exhausted radar technician pushed the wrong button and accidentally invented the future. Joan Clarke returns to civilian life after the war, her contribution classified for decades. She never receives public recognition for accidentally saving Britain, but her discovery reshapes how nations think about conflict itself. In the modern era, wars are won not just with bullets and bombs, but with invisible signals that can turn an enemy's strength into weakness with the flip of a switch. The Nazis never figured out what hit them that night. Their official reports blame unprecedented atmospheric interference for the failed raid. They never realized that Britain's greatest breakthrough came not from brilliant planning or superior technology, but from a simple human mistake that revealed possibilities no one had imagined. Here's the part that will keep you awake tonight. Every time you use GPS navigation, connect to Wi-Fi, or watch your phone automatically switch cell towers, you're witnessing the legacy of Joan Clarke's mistake. The invisible war she accidentally started in 1940 never ended. It just moved into your pocket. Today's military forces don't just carry guns and missiles. They carry electronic warfare devices that can disable enemy communications, hack into their networks, and turn their own technology against them. The same principles Clarke discovered are now used by everyone from cybersecurity specialists to the intelligence agencies monitoring this video right now. But here's what's really unsettling. In our hyper-connected world, we're all more vulnerable to electronic warfare than those German pilots ever were. Your car's GPS can be spoofed, your phone's signal can be jammed, even your smart home devices can be turned into listening posts by anyone who understands the frequencies they operate on. The question isn't whether this technology will be used against civilian targets. It already has been. The question is whether we're preparing for a world where the next major conflict might be won, not by whoever has the most tanks or planes, but by whoever can best control the invisible waves that govern our entire digital existence. Joan Clarke proved that one person's accident could change the course of history. In today's interconnected world, one person's mistake could bring down entire nations. or save them. What keeps me fascinated by this story isn't just how it changed World War II. It's how it predicted the world we're living in right now, where the most powerful weapons are the ones you can't see, hear, or touch. They're just signals in the air, waiting for someone to discover how to use them. Think about that the next time your phone loses signal in a place where it shouldn't. Maybe it's just a dead zone, or maybe someone else just learned what Joan Clarke figured out that night in 1940. That controlling information is the ultimate form of power. What would you have done in her position? Would you have had the courage to convince your superiors that your greatest mistake was actually Britain's salvation? Let me know in the comments, and if this story changed how you think about the invisible technology surrounding us every day, share it with someone who needs to hear it.